Hey, it's me, TPE, and welcome to another video. Let's have a listen to one of the smartest things that I've heard in 2025. And yes, it came from Granny's panel. I don't think she liked it too much, but I did.
This video is fair use. It is transformative and is protected under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, reporting, teaching, and more.
So this is Granny's live stream. Granny's watching the unfortunate facts and latest developments in FAFO of it all. And this is on January 1st. So first of the new year. So this was a really long stream for Granny on New Year's Day. It was 10 hours and 38 minutes. And you can see that Sebastian Rogers is tagged there, as well as SF Investigates. And here's the description, just briefly. So we're going to listen to just one part of this live stream where a certain lady comes up. And I do believe that the name she goes by is Advocate. So we're going to start the stream right where that lady comes up on panel. And I'd like to hear what she has to say. It is something I agree with. So let's dive right in.
Advocate, you're up here. I want to make sure you're real first.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay. So are we live right now? Other people can hear, or am I in the back?
No, everybody can hear you.
Oh, okay. I've heard this before, so.
Oh, well, welcome.
So we're starting at timestamp 4 hours, 9 minutes, and 10 seconds. Okay, so we have Advocate, who just joined the panel, and then we've got Granny, and the other person, I believe, is that person who they call UA. That's the one who likes to go real life. She's the one who called Betty's attorney's office, and she's also the one who did all the FOIA stuff regarding Seth's work history that was read out on Jay's panel. And yeah, she did a few other real life things. I guess she played some sort of part as a homeless person in trying to investigate another case, and she, well, let's just say she's not exactly credentialed to do things like that. She's also the one that recorded that Bobby phone call, and it was released on Jay's panel, and then it was taken down, put back up, taken down, but I mean, you can still find it out there, which think what you will about that. I think she's already taken quite a bit of heat for all these things. And so I'm not going to go into too much detail about all that stuff. But you can go check that out on Queen Bee's channel. She's got that up, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but probably. And I know some other people reviewed it as well. But yeah, she's still around, still seems to be welcomed on panels. And yeah, hopefully she learned a lesson from really inserting herself way too far into numerous cases. All right, let's keep going here. Now that we know who everyone is, let's keep going.
Hi. I just want
You
to
picked one heck of a time to jump in, but yeah.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to say I study corruption and propaganda, and unfortunately, I think you guys you've not been chosen, but you were just in the right place at the wrong time. This is, the back of this whole thing is through a media company, and they normally get on there and just go against the grain to get people to argue. This rises them up the media stairs, so to speak.
Exactly. And you guys are all falling for it. You're making them bigger. You're making them more relevant. I just don't know how you don't see it, or maybe you just don't care because all that money's rolling in.
There is a media company behind all of this, and it has to do with Nick and his partner. So unfortunately, the game is to say something wrong. It is to get people to argue because that's clicks. And I am a retired private investigator who's done missing persons for about 30 years, pro bono.
So we've got someone with some credentials here. That's good to know.
And I am a retired private investigator who's done missing persons for about 30 years, pro bono. So
Wow.
I've seen this so many times. And I hate to see YouTubers with a good heart really are on there trying to make a difference, and they get caught up in this, and it happens. It happened to the Summer Wells case as well. So,
Okay, listen up, because this part coming up, it's very short, but I think it's definitely one of the most important and one of the smartest things I have heard on this app all year. Well, in 2025. Mind you, most of what she's saying is on point. It's just, I like this part. So let's hear what she's got to say.
the best way to stop it, and a lot of people aren't willing to do that, is just to stop talking about it. Because then they're going to move on. They're going to move on somewhere else to get their media company out there.
Exactly. Stop talking about it. Stop giving them all the attention that they're craving. You're literally putting it in their lap. And what she means by some people aren't willing to do that, well, the way I interpret it is that some people aren't willing to give up the money. This is how these people make money, by talking about this drama, this back and forth. But unfortunately, you're feeding into it.
The best way to stop it, and a lot of people aren't willing to do that, is just to stop talking about it. Because then they're going to move on. They're going to move on somewhere else to get their media company out there, hopefully to get up to prime time. And they've already been on court TV now, so they've kind of hit the big time, but they have to stay there. And I don't think they realized the set of people that were in the net, so to speak, were going to fight back so ferociously.
That's right, and for a lot of us, it's our first instinct to want to fight back and want to do what's right. But unfortunately, as this drags on and on and on and on, I don't think it's the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to keep feeding the beast, so to speak, because when will it end? And the big question, how is this helping Sebastian? I know we always ask that, but really think about that. How is fighting back and forth with these people helping Sebastian? I just don't think it is. But it is putting a lot of money in some of y'all's pockets. And that goes for both sides of the coin.
Right. Well, and I said the same thing, right? Like when they're putting out 15 break-in updates, and none of them have anything to do with Sebastian. At this point, some of the things that are being done, and I do believe, including litigation, is to reach those higher newscasts, if you will. And I agree with you. I do think that, you know, and I think Breaking Chains has said similar. Absolutely, it all comes into play with kind of keeping their name out there.
Well, unfortunately, on the other side, so to speak, there are a lot of people that genuinely care, and they are being fooled also. They are being used against you, who really does care too. So you've got two sets of really caring people on either side, and they're ultimately being manipulated to the nth. And the more that happens, the more controversy there is, the more the whole story gets risen up in media land. So you see this in politics too. This just happened in the last 4 years. That's what propaganda's for.
I agree that this at least started out with people having good intentions. You know, fighting the good fight, fight back on the misinformation and the way that they treat victims. But at this point, is it really helping? Maybe they'll just go away if we ignore them. The more that we engage with them and talk about them, the bigger they do get, because the more people who watch us are hearing about them and blah, 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 blah. It just keeps going. I think icing them out is worth a shot.
It's intended for that. Intentionally. That's the game.
Exactly.
How else would you get your name out there if it isn't for crap that sells? And negativity sells. Not a good story. Start a channel and put just good stuff on it and see how many followers you get.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the case in point today, I was trying to show, you know, different things, and I was so thankful that people stayed and did it. And then look how quickly it got derailed for like a drama shit show. You know what I mean?
Well, and Granny, why is that? That's a good question. When you listen to that call, I bet you're gonna realize exactly why.
So I'm pretty sure that UA is referring to that Bobby call that was on Jay's panel. Then that was the night before, actually, because this is New Year's Day. So Granny was not around for that. She was with her family or sleeping, one or the other, and so she hasn't heard it at this point yet.
When you listen to that call, I bet you're gonna realize exactly why.
Yeah, but I would have to say that like Nunya came in with the intent to do that, and I don't believe she did.
Well, no, I'm saying like it started like getting really like really amped up to a level of like going personal, putting all this stuff out, you know, with certain people, you know, that have sent screenshots of, you know, going personal and all the attacks, you know, in the lives this morning on Jay and everything, and myself.
Right, that's part of their campaign.
There was a lot of people upset with that Bobby call being released, along with personal info about Seth to the public. And that was UA, who's talking now, who did the releasing on Jay's panel. So her and Jay released it. And yeah, a lot of people were upset. It was a lot of personal information about Seth that didn't necessarily need to be there. If they were just trying to prove a lie, they didn't have to read his whole work history. And who cares? I don't know. Just my opinion, it wasn't necessary to show his entire work history. We didn't need to know that he worked at a pizza place however many freaking years ago. Just not necessary. And again, why are we digging on people? Anyway, that's for another video. Let's just keep going with this. It is kind of long, so bear with me. Oh, and some of this may not make sense to you if you guys haven't seen the full live stream. So I am going to put the link to that in the description so you can go watch, because they were talking about Nunya, and Nunya had come up on the live stream earlier and shared her opinions about the Bobby phone call, but mostly what was released about Seth. That part isn't in here, but yeah, I just wanted to explain it because it is brought up again, etc.
Well, that's because of, you know, and then when it seemed like once it seemed like to me, once it came out that you were going to also go back and replay it, that, you know, all of a sudden we have an influx of people. And I'm not saying that was anybody's like intentions that came up on panel. I'm just saying in the chat, I started seeing a turn, you know.
Well, that's because I do believe there is a group of people that are against going real life on any of the parents. I do believe that.
100% yes, Granny. I also agree, and I am part of that group. I am not a fan of it. I don't like it. I know some people seem to be okay with it. I got a comment once where the person said, well, because their child went missing, they're now a public figure, so we can do what we want because they're a public figure. Well, the way I look at it is they didn't choose to be a public figure, whereas most public figures, they choose that line of work. In my opinion, a parent of a missing child did not choose to be in the public eye. They're in the public eye because, in a way, they're a victim. If they haven't been convicted of anything, and there's not proof that we know of that they've done anything, they're a victim. So they're not choosing this, and I don't feel they deserve to be dug into constantly and everything about their life be put out on the internet. So yes, what Granny was saying, I agree, correct. That there is a group of us out there who disagree with people going real life on the parents of missing children.
But again, I don't I don't know if they didn't know, like it was all redacted. I don't know if they're just looking for content. I don't know.
They didn't. Well, I mean, that's the thing. You've got to, if you're, I mean, like, don't just take someone's word for it. Look at the information and use your own brain and your own judgment. Don't let, when someone's trying to spoon feed you something, that's when you should start, like, the little red flag should start waving. Like,
I can agree with that, UA. People do need to do their own research. But I feel like most people kind of figured out pretty quickly that his social security number and card weren't actually there, and that was some BS. People are and were still pissed that you dug up his whole work history. And the Bobby phone call. What if that had affected the investigation? Oh, and her full name is UA Crimson Tide.
Hey, probably not a good idea when I have somebody telling me what I should think about something.
Well, the people that came in here today aren't being spoon-fed. That's why they came in for answers.
Well, I know.
I mean, so I give respect to that, but I do get what you're saying as far as, you know, who they can watch, who they can't.
About some of these people in the chat trolling and, you know, trying to control, like, their perception of certain people and stuff, and perception of me or whatever.
That's what they're doing.
Okay, but if we're talking about people like Nunya and other people in the chat, these aren't trolls. These are people who are pissed that you went real life.
So long as you argue over what the truth is, when they put a twisted version out there and you're arguing with them, you're playing a media game. The only way to win is to not get into the conversation at all. But of course, then it defeats the purpose of you guys being here and calling out for these families of the missing. The families of the missing are the ones that always lose.
My responsibility is to Sebastian.
Well, there's There's 15,000 other children that are missing.
Boom! Exactly. These people are just not getting that.
My responsibility is to Sebastian.
Well, there's 15,000 other children that are missing. And I'm not trying to say that he's, not less worthy of all of those. But the ultimate focus on this one child that you're seeing now in the media is only because it's in the media.
It's because it's personal.
And because that's how the dollars are rolling in. Can we please just be honest here? If you weren't covering Sebastian and you started covering a different missing child, just, pick one. Would all these people show up? I don't think so. Maybe for the first few minutes. And that's really sad. I'm not saying that's anyone's fault, but that's what happens. So if you continue with Sebastian, you'll continue getting that same paycheck. And that's just the truth. Can we please be honest? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Sebastian's case isn't personal for you, Granny. And there's a lot of people who made the choice to speak negatively about the parent of a missing child. And unfortunately, it seems like you were chosen for this lawsuit because of where you reside, and that sucks. And obviously I'm not in your situation, so it's hard to put myself there, and you're probably thinking the same thing. And I really, truly do get that. I'm not in your shoes. I'm just sharing my opinion and my thoughts. And this is not me coming for you, just so you know. And I'll say it again, I have no problem with people having monetized channels. I have a monetized channel, but I feel like it's what you're monetizing, how you're behaving, what you're covering. That is what matters to me. And again, I can only share my own personal thoughts. Not everyone's going to agree, and that's okay. I don't have those expectations. And to those calling me some sort of moral authority, I don't think so. There are people who go live daily for, 8 to 12 hours a day who also share their opinions. Are they a moral authority? I think we're all the same in the fact that we share our opinions. And you guys as listeners, as subscribers, you get to choose whether you agree or not. Whether you're a creator or a listener, you get to choose what you agree with.
It's personal for a lot of people.
Well, if you ask SF, all of them are personal for him. Do you see what I'm saying? And
Well, yeah, he's working the case.
Texas EquiSearch, I've searched with them before. I've been all over the country to hundreds of kids, and you've never seen my face. It's very personal for me. I know a lot of the families, and I'm friends with them outside of social media. It's all personal for me. They're all valuable. They're all precious. But I'm not on YouTube making videos about them and generating talk unless it's a cold case. And it doesn't really belong on YouTube if it's an active case. That's my view. My personal view.
I could not agree more.
I don't think anybody should discuss active cases unless they're part of search and rescue. But that's just my view. And that's because there's so many. There isn't enough hours in the day to discuss all the small things that happen in an active case or even a cold case to the point where you're actually going to find them using media.
But I do have to say, if you're search and rescue, that's, to me, in my opinion, all the more reason not to be discussing a case on YouTube. And maybe she didn't mean on YouTube. I don't think any of this belongs on YouTube. I think it should stay private. I think the only thing that belongs on YouTube is the child's face and anything about the child that would help us find the child, and anything that law enforcement has put out to help find the child. Or missing person in general, I should say, person.
But then I understand that a lot of people on YouTube use it for an income. They use YouTube for an income. And I think that that's awesome. But when those two beams cross, this is what happens. And when it becomes so important for all these creators to discuss these cases and media people see the interest, that's when they get in there and they start saying things that go against the grain to get everybody arguing. So you guys have actually been hijacked. Your good intentions have been hijacked. And how do you fight that? I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer.
I think you said it earlier. I think icing them out is the way to go. If somebody wants to come on here and correct misinformation, maybe there's a way to do that without adding in all the drama. Maybe we can just correct the misinformation and move on without slinging mud. I also don't have all the answers. I don't pretend to, but there's got to be a better way. So why not just put out the right information and correct it without giving them any attention? Just a thought I had. Just a random thought. I don't know what's right. I'm not an expert. I'm just saying it could be an idea.
Yeah. I mean, I don't either, I suppose.
And that whole court thing, that's just a bluff. That started off a bluff.
I mean, I kind of have to agree with that too. And you guys kind of bought into it. I get that you wanted to protect yourself. I do understand that. But it was kind of a bunch of junk that you could kind of tell wasn't really going anywhere. But again, I do understand having to protect yourself. And it's real easy for me to say when I'm not in your shoes. So again, I understand that. I can only say what I think I would do. It's just hard to watch the community yet again forking out more money for yet another frivolous lawsuit. And it costs a fortune. And with the countersuits, it's going to cost another fortune. So I hope Granny's subs are prepared to fork out a lot more money. I just wish these things were handled behind the scenes. It seems more appropriate, but of course it's going to be used for content, and of course, more drama in Sebastian's name.
It's a real thing now.
Yeah, they didn't expect that they were going to run into this group of gals that were going to fight back so ferociously. So now it's a big mess, and I don't know what's real or not. Actually, I'm not a lawyer, so SF seems to have a pretty good grip on that. But and I don't know him personally, by the way. I'm on no team. I just see this happening over and over and over. You know, and now Court TV is involved, and that's really, that was very sad when I saw them take a side. I absolutely could not believe that. So hopefully this court case and what's going on is going to sort all that out for Court TV, and they'll also get off this wagon, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this team did. They came in and they created a monstrous divide by posing themselves as a credentialed company, in my opinion, that knew more than the average person, and they created hate mobs based off their fictional, facts, or their fictional satellite photos, or their fictional breaking news.
Well, now let's be honest here. I'm not saying that they're not part of the divide, but let's be honest. The divide happened actually way before they came in. The divide happened around the time the Proudfoots were on Smiley's panel. That's about the time that the divide started. Now, I know they did some interviews, but I believe the very first panel that they were on was Duchess's. And from what I'm told, they reached out to her, or at least someone who knows someone reached out to her. And then they were on her panel. Some people didn't like that, and they tore that panel apart. And then the next one I remember was Smiley's. So there's that. Did you guys see that chat? That chat was disgusting. And so we then started picking sides. Some people picked the Proudfoots and some people picked Seth. And some of us stayed neutral. It didn't go well from there. I'm not going to rehash the whole thing, but let's be honest here. It wasn't the media group who started this, but they definitely joined in, and they definitely made it way worse.
Well, the Nick person and his partner, what's his name?
Hung.
Yeah, they have been trying to start a media company for many, many, many years, if you look into their background. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having a media company. But I don't understand the path that they're using is almost a shortcut, And then you look at all the celebrities that are in there. I don't know really if they even know the details of what's going on either.
Agreed. I don't think they know what's going on at all. Yet people keep giving them the accolades for some reason and making them important. More important than they should be.
You look into Dog's life, and he's got other things going on. Is he an up and up person? Who knows?
Who knows?
You really don't know, because you don't know any of these people personally.
I mean, the guy is washed up, in my opinion. He's looking for his next reality show. He's looking for his next spot in the limelight. He's looking for his next big payday. This ain't it, bro, in my opinion. The guy went on the news with the father of a missing child and literally called him the wrong name. I'm pretty sure it was twice. You don't even know the guy's name. Not a good look.
But I think the whole thing now is like It's gotten a lot of fertilizer lately, and it's really growing. So now you've got lawyers jumping ship, and
They were never on the ship.
well, if you go on to Twitter, those are legitimate checkmarked accounts that have been involved in all of this.
Right, involved on defendant dog. He was never involved in this litigation.
Just a reminder, in case you did miss the beginning, this video that we're reviewing is actually from January 1st, and I've been working on this in the background for quite a while now, so some of it is a bit outdated. We obviously know a lot more now than we did then, although we did pretty much know that Castor was not actually involved in the case, but somehow his name magically got on the paperwork. And that has caused a major shit show for the media group and anyone who is dumb enough to sign their name to that frivolous injunction. I don't want to get into all the details of all this stuff, but you guys can catch up on Granny's channel because she is covering this lol suit, and so go check out Granny's if you would like updates about that case. I was just wanting to remind you guys that this stream that we're covering here right now is from January 1st. So some time has passed and some things have obviously changed. I tend to work on these longer videos over a period of time and then put out shorter ones when I can as well. So that's why it's taking so long. These longer videos take a long time to edit.
Well, he put his social media to it, so I don't know. I don't think he ever actually signed the paper, but I think he backed the idea because that's how he came involved with Trump. So,
What do you mean?
there is a media connection between all of this and Trump's lawyer.
He's not Trump's lawyer, though.
They're using the same paths to get their opinion out there, which is legal, and like I said, I don't think that they meant for this to happen.
I don't know anything about any of that stuff. I do know they went on a panel, though, at one point. Castor was on a panel with, was it with Leslie? I don't know. I shouldn't be saying anything because I can't remember. But I thought they were on a panel together and talking about Sebastian's case. But that's very different than signing your name to an actual lawsuit that says RICO in it. Yeah, very different. Very different. And more importantly, I guess we're going to find out because Granny's new lawyer has asked for all of the communication records between the lawyer and all those people in the lawsuit. So that includes the media group, and so that includes Dog the Bounty Hunter, and it would include the other creators like Brittany J, Betty, that Julia lady, Hong, all those people, I guess. I know that their communications have been asked for. So anytime they spoke with Castor, whether it be via email, text, any type of electronic communication is being asked for by Granny's new lawyer. So there's that. So I guess we'll find out a little bit more than we knew before. And if you would like to follow this case, again, Granny's covering it on her channel, so you can check it out there, and I'll put the link to her channel in the description. Oh, and that does remind me of something. Granny had a message for some people. Let's grab that, and then we'll get back to our other stream, but let's listen to this real quick first. And I just heard this stream yesterday, so I believe it aired yesterday, which is, the date of that is... Today is January 22nd, so January 21st. So it's another long one, 8 hours and 10 minutes. Holy cannoli, Batman. And it's called For Immediate Release, My Official Response to a Plaintiff's Call On and Other Gossip Session. Link will be in the description.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they're stupid for that. But here's the thing. Like, we demand proof. We don't have to prove anything. The burden of proof is on you, for starters. And I do hope I'm going to be 100%. I'm going to be as real as I can be right now. First off, Amy, I want to thank you. But I sincerely hope that everybody, including you, Jay, have enough respect that none of you cover this before I do.
So I don't know if she's talking to just her friends here or if she's talking to the whole internet, but it seems like she's saying that she doesn't want anyone else covering these public records, this case, before she does. But let's just keep listening.
Okay? Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, I don't want to ever have to wake up again to hearing an update about my case on social media.
Do people know that happened to you?
Well,
I think
yeah.
you should. I mean, that's pretty like jarring.
It is jarring.
So I guess I understand where she's coming from here, where Granny's coming from here. But again, there are other people named in this lawsuit. What if they want to talk about it? See, because I don't know who it was that put it out or which people were talking about it, are they her friends? Maybe she's talking to her friends, people that she runs with. Maybe she's talking about it, everyone. I really don't know. But let me know what you guys think. Does Granny own the content now because it's her lawsuit, or can anyone talk about it because it's public record? I'm just curious. I can kind of see it both ways. Let's keep listening. There is a little bit more to go here.
It's like a huge slap in my face.
Yeah.
Brittany says I never laugh. I laugh at her dumbass all the time. What's she talking about? We laugh all the time at her.
Listen, it's your lawsuit and people should be following your lead, in my opinion. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with covering it after you've brought it out.
That's kind
But
of
I think that people need to follow your lead, and you should be the one to put it out first.
right.
Well, I think this one is going to be a matter of opinion. There are other people named in said lawsuit. Those people have a right to talk about it. But does everybody have a right to talk about it because it's public record? Again, I get where Granny's coming from. She wants to be the first to put it out. And in a second, we're going to hear, one of the reasons why she wants to put it out first. Anyway, let's keep going.
Everybody knows you're going to share what you can.
Right.
You're not holding back. So I think people just need to have some patience and follow your lead. Now, you guys are, in the midst of this,
Yeah, I agree. Brittany says we never laugh. We had a good old laugh during this stream right here, if anybody missed it. It was done to me several times, Autumn. And, Jay can attest to it because I was actually, and my one mod, Megan, sent me something. And I'm like, what is this? And she's like, oh, they're talking about the response. I'm like, what response? Like, I didn't even know.
right?
That
It was
really,
so early in the morning too. Like, the
yeah.
hell? What's going on?
Right. And then I'm like scrambling to try to figure out what's happening. And it just, it doesn't feel right. It
Yeah.
isn't right because at the end of the day, like I'm footing a bill for everybody's content, if you will.
Well, I think your community is footing the bill for this content, but I understand you have said that you've put your own money into this, so that is understandable. But, and I'm gonna say but, there's plenty of other examples I can think of where someone else was footing the bill for the content that you're putting out, or that anyone's putting out. Look at Betty, for example. Many of us covered Betty's arrest, or made community posts or videos, and Betty was having to foot the bill for that. So does that mean when Betty went to court, everyone should have waited till she got home and covered it first before they did any content on it because she had to pay a lawyer? No. And maybe that's a bad example. I don't know. But I know there's other examples out there. It's always a rush for people to get it out first. That's normal on YouTube. I don't know. I don't know what the right thing here is. I think if someone is your friend and you have asked them to let you put it out first, then that's understandable. But in this internet world of YouTube, I think it's kind of a free-for-all. And if these are public records, yeah, it's a free-for-all. So you may just have to get up early in the morning. I don't know. But yeah, if I was your friend and you respectfully asked me, then I wouldn't be putting it out. I don't plan on doing it anyway, but I just mean in general. All right, there's a little bit more of this clip left, and then we're going to get back to our original stream that we were covering. And it's kind of almost done. There's about 10 minutes of content left that I've got to go through, so maybe another 15 or 20 minutes of video. Let's keep going. And as usual, I lied. There's more. Sorry. More new things happened.
It just, it doesn't feel right. It
Yeah.
isn't right because at the end of the day, like I'm footing a bill for everybody's content, if you will. So like at the very minimum, I should have me and Barbecue should be the first to discuss it if we choose to.
Right.
Like
I just think Monday morning before you can even talk to your lawyer, and you go on
Oh, that
X
too.
and you see it.
That's exactly what I'm referring to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I may have another bad example here, but this kind of reminds me in a way of Justin and his 48-hour rule regarding Jose. And I only say that, they're not even close to the same type of thing, but I only say that because it's not a YouTube rule. Anyone can cover whatever they want, when they find it. And yeah, again, if this is for Granny's people and her friends and people who she aligns with, then I guess that makes sense. So in a way, this is more of an etiquette type thing. And I don't think everyone on here follows etiquette, unfortunately. So it's probably not going to happen, but you never know. But really, anyone can cover anything, and there are no rules or YouTube rules in that regard. And again, there are other people named in this lawsuit, and if they want to cover it, they'll cover it. And if someone else wants to cover it after that, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It is what it is. I'm sorry you're footing the bill and your people are footing the bill. The community's footing the bill, but it's just not how it works. But again, everyone may think differently. Feel free to share your thoughts on that in the comments or in the chat. Yeah, and we can agree to disagree. Okay, so I'm back and it's been a couple days and I was listening to Granny and I heard something. So let's take a listen to that, and then eventually we'll get back to our original stream that we were streaming. But I just wanted to keep going with this for a minute. Okay, so this is the stream I'm talking about. It says, Bruce Castor, ? More Scrivener's errors? I can't believe this is real. And this is January 23rd, 2025. And as always, the link will be in the description for you. In this first part here, I'm just leaving in for context so that we know exactly like how the conversation starts and all that.
Oh my God, we saw it and I felt it. I felt for them. Betty's the type of bitch that's going to tell you what's going on in your child's school and try to take books out of the library she never visits and a book she clearly never picks up to read. That's what Betty is.
100% agree with that.
Oh, the difference is that some people put their tail between their legs and run off and close their channel down. They become bullies themselves, or they just stop giving a crap about the cases and start looking for the clicks and the views.
You know, would that be like Betty, what she's doing right here, where she says things like, this is breaking news in Sebastian Roger's case? Would it be like that? You tell me the last time Betty didn't do a title that was based around Sebastian Rogers.
Agreed. And Betty is definitely doing that. And her breaking news is bullshit. But a lot of you guys are also covering Sebastian Rogers on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day. So there's that too. And I have to admit, sometimes the excuse of, oh, I'm covering the RICO case. Well, that's still using Sebastian's name. And that's just my opinion. Some of you guys are going live 2-3 times a day covering this stuff. All the drama surrounding Sebastian's case. But that's covering Sebastian. I don't know. Is it any better? I don't think it is. That's just me though. Oh, and we will be getting to the point here real soon. And I might just put this part on fast forward. You guys can slow it down if you want to hear it, but I'm just trying to get to the point, but also trying to stay in context here.
The way she's always sitting there and she's always saying, breaking news, breaking news. She even says in this that it's breaking news. Well, Barry, thank you for becoming a member.
I can promise you that here on this channel and all of my channels, we've always stayed victim focused. And that is very important. It's not just important to me, but it's important to the audience that supports me. We don't really engage with the haters. Why? Because it's a privilege to be in my...
She doesn't engage with the haters. She doesn't engage.
I chat. And if you cannot handle yourself like an adult, we remove you. It's that simple. They're saying they aren't talking about it anymore because there's no new updates.
They say nobody with any professional capabilities wants to touch this with a 10-foot pole. You know why? Because months ago, you guys sent out cease and desist to people that were actually credentialed, boots on the ground in Tennessee searching. And then in September, you all decided you were going to come out here and you were going to attempt to take away our freedom of speech. That's why nobody wants to touch it. People stopped covering this case because of the mess you all turned it in. People stopped covering this case because you made it despicable.
I mean, I kind of agree, but I'm going to say it. I also feel like you're part of it. A lot of channels are part of it. It's not just Betty making it despicable. There's a lot of you guys making it despicable. It's a 3-ring circus, and you can't say that you're not part of that, because you are. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, we're getting to one of the parts that I was looking for here. Let's listen to this, and then it'll make sense. Well, it does to me. I mean, everyone will have their own opinion, but to me, this makes sense. And I'm going to slow it down here, so...
And you know, another stupid thing, and I love this for, can I say that out loud? You know, Nonsense went back over the filings the other day. And what I noticed was a lot of them are claiming emotional stress. Emotional stress. That granny's watching over there, she calls me emotional stress. One said that they had scars that would never heal. Do you know that scars don't heal? That's why they're called scars. I mean, holy shit, the stupidity. Scars that will never heal. The scar is the wound already healed. But all right, we'll stop on that one. You know what's funny about you people? You're going to have to explain to a judge the emotional distress you all went through when you're going live 2, 3, 4 times a day. Betty? Brittany? How many live streams you guys? 2 hours ago, 17 hours, 22 hours, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. 3 days. So we got right here. 3 days, twice in one day, 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 twice in one, 3 times in one day. You're going to have to explain to a judge where that emotional distress is. I'm not seeing it, or any of you.
So let me just play devil's advocate here, but Granny, did you not claim emotional distress? I don't mean like necessarily on your paperwork. I haven't really studied that so much, but I'm pretty sure in an upcoming clip here, you are kind of claiming emotional distress. And then I think you also went live multiple times a day, or maybe even just once. But even if it's just once, I don't know. People can go live when they're emotionally distressed, in my opinion. I think. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but just saying. And let me make this very clear. I am not standing up for this green team / media group / whatever the hell they think they are. I am not standing up for these morons. I think that what they have done in a missing child's case and name is disgusting and immoral. So let's just make that very clear. What I'm talking about is the hypocrisy. That's all. And, you know, playing a little devil's advocate here. So let's keep listening.
When these people are out there and they're laughing and they're giddy, and again, look at all of her thumbnails and titles. Breaking news. Mind blown. Breaking news. Oh my God, I figured it out. Wait, what? Case essentials. The educated versus the uneducated. You know, you look really, you look emotionally unstable, but do you look emotionally distressed? In my opinion, no. Does that look emotionally stressed to you all? And you're going to have to explain that.
And Granny, I don't think that you looked emotionally distressed either. I really don't. I do think that you said you were, and I do believe that some of the things that happened to you, yeah, that could have caused emotional distress. But my point is that you still went live, you still were laughing and, you know, laughing it out just like they were. So what's the difference? That's all I'm saying. I am certainly not saying that you didn't have a reason to be emotionally distressed with all that happened and all that was pointed towards you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that sometimes people can still go live when they're emotionally distressed, and maybe that's what they were doing. Perhaps they were emotionally distressed too. I don't frickin' know. I do know that they made really ridiculous claims, and yeah, I agree with you on that. It is absolutely ridiculous. But that doesn't mean that if you're in emotional stress that you can't still go live, because you need to make money to try and fight this type of thing. And maybe that's what you were doing. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of commenting here. And I know, people are going to be mad at me, the Granny supporters, the supporters of the other side of the RICO, whatever. I'm just kind of trying to give my opinion on both sides and where I land. And I land on the side where it's about Sebastian, and that I still think people are just using him, using this case, using anything they can to bring in money to pay their own bills. And that's just where I stand. I'm not sorry for that. And again, if you don't agree with me, I'm okay with that too. I don't agree with every single thing I hear on here. So basically, I don't expect people who subscribe to me to agree with every single thing that I say. And I think that's normal. I think it's okay.
You're going to have to explain that while you're sitting over there running your mouth about me, how fearful you really are. You think the videos are gone? You think you're going to be able to explain to a judge why you wrote that you can't sleep because of me, but you go live every night in midnight hours till 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m.?
Well, what if she can't sleep because of you, so that's why she's going live? Honestly, I know that's not true, so don't get me wrong. I honestly know that's not true. She's been doing that for years, going live and then falling asleep. Well, that's more of a recent thing in the past few months. Yeah, just falling asleep on a live. It's all just getting exhausting. No pun intended. I do think that people are tired of the same thing over and over, you and Brittany back and forth, and mostly that you guys mix it in with Sebastian. You've got Sebastian Roger's content, and you mix it in with all your drama, and it's not right. And a lot of channels are mixing drama and missing kids.
I don't think these people realize. I know, Nick told you all, there won't be no depositions. I know he laughed hysterically while he, said depositions. There won't be no depositions. But I assure you, there will be. If we get to that point. If you're all dumb enough to ride it to that point.
So, Granny, I guess my question is, like, would you take a settlement at this point? Would you take like a fistful of money and just be, okay, I'm done? And then what would you do with that money? Would you give it back to the community? What would you do with it? Keep it for yourself because of the emotional distress? No judgment. I'm just actually curious. Like, if you were to get a settlement, say, next week, would that be good enough for you? Or would you want to take it and keep fighting it? I'm just curious, honestly. I mean, it's obviously none of my business, but I mean, since we're on YouTube and, you know, the case is everyone's business because people are making it our business, I was just curious. And obviously you don't have to answer. That was just me asking a question, and yeah, it's none of my business, for real.
Is it this one? Let's see. Was it this one? I'm going to talk about, extortion, and we feel blackmailed, and nope, it wasn't this one. What happened to this story Nick told you on October 20th? What happened that this changed?
Yeah, right now you guys are seeing the first round of litigation that just went out. I guess that's our first shots fired.
I don't want this guy on my screen.
First of many. Again, we are filing 10 lawsuits in 10 different states with the intent to combine them all together and make them federal. Enough is enough. This is about cyberbullying that has deterred the case, and I can see that more bullies are coming on board. I welcome you.
10 lawsuits in 10 different states.
Yeah, it's obviously 100% ridiculous. I mean, all these people do is cyberbully when they claim that's what others are doing to them. Well, you guys really weren't that nice to Seth, and I think that's their problem, but they clearly have their own issues with cyberbullying. Just my opinion.
That was back in October. You haven't even followed through on the one you started here in PA. Nobody questions it. Emily Pickles, welcome back. Thank you. Nobody wonders? Well, what happened? This is around the same time Nick told everybody he was deputized.
Oh, I agree 100% with you, Granny. It's a mess. They are a mess. So we're going to skip ahead here a little bit.
That was a good letter, wasn't it? Yeah, breaking chains. When he literally said to me too, like, don't open any documents.
We're going to get back to more about what happened when other people played Granny's content. And we're even going to find out who it might have been. So I think what Granny is referring to here is, I think her attorney got sent something that may or may not have been from the other side's attorney. I don't know, but it kind of seemed like there was a link in there that they wanted someone to click on, and that's sketchy in itself. Could have been nothing, could have been something, but yeah, phishing scam, anyone, not worth clicking on, so be careful of those guys. Just don't click on any strange links. It's not worth it. Even if it comes from your favorite creator, you just never know. So yeah, don't click on weird links that come into your email inbox. Sorry, I should have been giving more context here, but Granny is reading out some stuff from her case, whether it's between her lawyer and the other lawyer. I don't exactly know at this point, but yeah. You guys will get the link to the full live stream in the description. But yeah, Granny's reading us off some of the RICO, not RICO, because it's not a RICO type stuff. And yeah, but the point is coming up, I promise. Eventually, it'll show up.
But I like this sentence. Let me be clear. It is too late to head off what is coming for these litigants. Right, Mystic? I mean, I often come on here when I read these, we'll joke around and all. And of course, when my attorney writes these letters, he's kind of trolling a bit. But this is a very serious thing. This is a big thing. And I don't know if me, like, responding this way and coming on here in this way is, like, lessening the severity of what is happening. But this is huge. It's fucking scary.
And see, I don't disagree with that. I guess my point kind of was that the other side was saying that they had emotional distress, and you were saying, like, oh, well, how can they go live if they're emotionally distressed? But Granny, you're going live, and then you are laughing a lot, like you had just said, and I'm not going to play that part, but clip channels have it. You were laughing, having a grand old time, and I think that's okay. There is literally nothing wrong with laughing, even if you're in emotional distress, in my opinion. But it doesn't mean that the other side also isn't in emotional distress. It's either that or none of you are, and this is all just for money. Is this all just for money? Are you guys just doing this for a big old payday? I mean, this content, by that I mean the quote-unquote RICO case, is now content, and you can say, oh, I'm going to step back and not cover Sebastian Rogers anymore, but I'm going to cover this content which actually is about Sebastian Rogers. I mean, that's the part that is kind of hard for me to swallow, if that makes sense, because technically you're still using Sebastian Rogers. Hopefully that makes sense. And you guys, you can get upset with me. It's okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay when people don't agree with me. I feel the double standard here, where you, Granny, have said these people don't have emotional distress because they're able to go live and laugh, but then you're doing the same thing. And that was kind of my point just with this part here. So I don't know. I think you all can go live no matter what, because that's how you pay your bills. And I know you're specifically talking about Brittany. You and Brittany you've both made it very clear that YouTube is your income. So in a way, it kind of feels like you have to go live because that's how you pay your bills. That's how you feed your kids. You guys use your YouTube channels to feed your families. That is your way of income. And I've heard you say it before, and that's just the truth. And I think you do use a missing child to do so. And I think I've been pretty nice and fair so far, but that's how I feel. It is what it is. And it's often under the guise of misinformation and calling out misinformation. But what about all the drama mixed in? And it's not just you doing that. It's not just Brittany doing that. There's a lot of you guys that do that. And you'll find little ways around it. But technically, you're still using Sebastian to make your content and therefore pay your bills. So again, I'm trying to be nice here. I'm trying to play devil's advocate on both sides, but that's just how I feel. And I'm being honest. And again, not everyone's going to agree, and that's okay. That is okay with me.
It's scary to think that a lunatic with too much time on their hands can go out and do what is being done. This is a big deal. If it gets to the bar, well, that's on them. This was used maliciously to cause fear.
I agree 100%. It was used maliciously and to cause fear, and it's a waste of court's time. I understand why they might have started it. They were mad that people were going against Seth Rogers, who is the parent of a missing child. And I agree with that. It's wrong. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I don't participate in it. But I have no doubt it's been done for the wrong reasons. It's been a giant mess, and all they've done is add chaos in the name of a missing child. And how anyone can support this, including the biological father of a missing child, that I will never understand. Not for a second. All right, I gotta skip ahead here a little bit just because we're never gonna get to the end and the point here. So let's skip ahead, and here we go. But again, I'll give you the link in the description so you guys can go watch the full live. All of the lives that we talked about.
Oh, I think he is involved as he represented himself to be on TV. I just don't buy the email personally. But I get what you're saying. An enterprise. Extortion. Yeah, I felt extorted. Did you ever see that video Nick addressed solely to me? Where he's speaking directly to me? I felt extorted. I felt threatened. I felt intimidated. I felt a lot of things, yeah.
It is definitely really messed up that this media group wants to claim extortion, cyberbullying, and all the things that they're claiming when those are the things that they're doing. It make sense. I mean, it clearly doesn't.
You know, I'll never forget when this all first happened. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Okay, bear with me for a second. So the point is coming, and I don't really want to interrupt Granny on this part because I think it's her speaking, and I just, even for fair use, I don't really want to interrupt what she's saying. So let's listen, and it will make sense in a second.
When this all first happened, I had to reach out to attorneys. Some attorneys were like, just baffled. Some attorneys were too busy. Some attorneys told me it would cost too much. Some attorneys told me because of Castor's name being on there, they couldn't involve themselves. But one attorney sat with me and spoke with me for hours. And he couldn't believe what was happening. And he recommended I call all these places and I try to get all this help that he was recommending to me. And he said, I'll consider. I'll consider helping you because I want to help you. And I literally cried at that moment because I had nobody to help me. I thought they were going to do a press conference on the courthouse that is a short 15-minute drive from my house. I thought I was going to have my face and my name all over local news that's running a RICO organization. I'll never forget when that attorney called me back and he said to me, I have way too many trials coming up and I'm just too tied up to help. But there's one thing I want you to remember. There's one thing I want you to never forget while you go through this, because you're going to go through this. Is that you're not crazy. They are. And it hit like a ton of bricks because I needed to hear that because it made you think you were crazy. Imagine somebody, you turn on the internet, your phone starts going crazy, and you tune into Molly and TM reading off this document with your name all over it.
Okay, so that's the part I was looking for. So she was referring to Molly and TM reading her document, and that was a while ago. From what I remember, I kind of remember listening to part of that live. I'm not sure if that live's still up or not, but again, from what I remember, someone sent it to someone and then they read it off, but isn't that public and aren't people allowed to do that? And again, this is going to be an opinion thing. Who knows what's right and what's wrong? I get Granny wanting to be first on putting it all out, but again, let me just say this. What about all the parents of missing children who wake up every day and are hearing about their child, not only their child, but their own lives being dug into? Wouldn't they want to be first to put that out or not have it put out at all? I'm just kind of looking at the double standards here. Yeah. And then again, today, I believe it was today, and I'll have to check what date it is today. I don't even know. It's January something. But Granny was talking about SF, speaking about her case. But then, Granny, isn't SF involved in that case? Didn't he put himself in as some sort of inserter or something? Even if he inserted himself, whatever you want to call it, pretty sure his name is now on the documents. So people are allowed to talk about it. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. I do get where you're coming from, though. You're forking out a lot of money. Well, your people are forking out a lot of money. So you want to be first. But that's just not how it works. That's just not how it works. And that's just my opinion. But again, I do get where you're coming from and why you'd want to be first. I do get it. But anyway, I just wanted to play that part because we had played the other part earlier and now we have some names attached. So she's mad at TM and MGL. Do you really think they give a shit about reading your court documents or letting you read them first? I highly doubt it. And I'm not so sure they should give a fuck. Public record. I don't know. Again, I get why you would think that. I do. I just don't think it's right. And I don't think you have a right because, again, what about all the things you've said about missing children and their parents? And not just you, a lot of people. And that's just my opinion. As always on this channel, it's just my opinion. And let's keep listening because I do think there's a bit more. Let's find out.
I mean, imagine somebody, you turn on the internet, your phone starts going crazy, and you tune into Molly and TM reading off this document with your name all over it.
And imagine you were the parent of a missing child and having had all those things read about you. Sorry, I'm interrupting again. I can't.
And I'm being told in the chat that I'm lying, that I know about this. How don't you know about this? And this happened on a Friday. You mean attorneys you can get a hold of over the weekend? And that same day, he's telling me that he's having a press conference on my court steps on Wednesday. But I can give him $500 and an apology on Monday and have this all gone by then? Telling me that I can just call Lasniak and he'll help me? What if I believed them? What if I got scared enough that I just did it? That's what they wanted. It's clear what their intentions were. And all the people that ran around and they read this off and they said things like, you're looking at 20 years in jail. Oh my God, this is serious. This has Bruce Castor, former attorney for Trump, on it. They're so fucked. Oh my God. You know how that fucking felt? You know how it still feels?
And I can understand that. While I'm not in your shoes, I can try and place myself in your shoes and try to understand. But I also do that with the parents of missing children. And I cannot, for the life of me, imagine what they go through on a daily basis, listening to all of you speak about them, their lives, their child, their pasts, all of it. I don't understand how they can go through that. And then you're sitting here complaining about what happened to you, which I get. It sucks. But then maybe put yourself in the shoes of the missing parents that you speak about. Not just you, Granny. I mean, everyone. All the people speaking on the missing children and their parents. All of you. This is not just geared towards Granny. This is geared towards all the people who are mixing drama and all the things into the missing child's cases. And not only that, but you're digging up their pasts and airing it on your channel. Your friend Jay had no problem putting out Seth's entire work history. Many of you guys had no problem talking all about the divorce that Chris and Katie went through. I don't even want to bring it all up, but it's sick. And Granny had no problem giving her opinions about Sebastian and his stepsister and all those things too. It's disgusting. So imagine how they felt waking up to that. And not just one morning, but every morning for months.
And I haven't seen not one single one of them come out and apologize and recognize this for what it is. Because they see it. They know it. And for that alone, I'm going to continue all the way through until I can confidently come up here and read off their names and what they owe us for doing this to us.
Oh, and I'm not saying you're wrong for any of that. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just looking at the hypocrisy part of it. I do hope that things work out with regards to your case and what was done to you, because it's not right. It's gross. What they're doing is disgusting. Let me make that very, very clear.
I need just a second to get myself together. Hold on. Thank you so much, Chica. Thank you for being here for 11 months. And when I come back, I'm going to read you a very interesting email I think we all need to hear. Pine balls, man. Fucking slop.
Okay, so Granny plays some Tom Petty, won't back down, and she takes a minute, but we're going to stop here and we're going to go back to our original stream that we were watching from January 1st, and it's with that lady Advocate, who I agree with a lot of what she's saying, and I think this is kind of the part where Granny starts to not agree with her, and we're going to listen to that. So I think there's about 7 minutes left of that clip, and then yeah, it'll be a bit longer because I'll have to, jump in with fair use commentary, and I'll try not to talk too much, but I'll see you guys in a minute. Let's get back to Advocate.
They're using the same paths to get their opinion out there, which is legal, and like I said, I don't think that they meant for this to happen, but now this is where they are, and the silence I think everybody's seeing is they're trying to figure out, how do we get out of this now without hurting people and damaging our own reputations.
See, I really don't think they care about hurting people. Clearly, they haven't shown that they do anyway. Now, with regard to damaging their own reputations, yeah, they might try, but they're not too good at that either. They're continuously damaging their own reputations with all the stupidity. Just saying.
So my advice to Nick and Hong is, there's a lot of better ways to start a company. You don't have to do it this way. You don't have to use the old 1950 way of negativity, where there's aliens invading New Jersey, because that's what this is all based on. Negativity and fear is a way to drive people. So there are better ways. And I'm an advocate for families of the missing, and I've seen this happen. My God, 200 times so far for these poor families. And eventually it's going to go the way of Alex Jones, and families are going to have to sue to get media to stop using them as bait.
And the saddest thing is, why should these families even have to worry about suing people online who are talking shit about them? It sucks. It's not fair. And the last thing they need to be worrying about is doing that during the worst time of their entire lives. It's unfair. It's horrible. There should be laws in place to protect them. Like, in the beginning, already. They should be there, so they don't have to worry about this kind of thing. And this is about to get good. Granny gets a little triggered, and I don't really blame her, but let's just listen. Well, I kind of do, but let's listen.
And what do you... Huh? Yeah. What do you do when the one father's part of it, though? He's part of it.
He's a victim of them. He has no idea. He has no idea he's being used. Just like, pardon me?
I said I respectfully disagree.
Well, he is a victim. I don't think that he's
a victim of Sebastian's disappearance, perhaps, but he's not a victim of what he's currently involved in. He's totally, he got rid of everybody credible, surrounded himself, birds of a feather.
Well, as an advocate, the families are of importance to me. And from where I sit, and I've been doing this a really, really long time.
I get that.
He's a victim. He's being played. And maybe he even sees that he's being played a little bit, and his anger is leading him. That's very possible.
Perhaps the moment Dog called his spokesperson and read him his Miranda rights, and Tony himself admitted, "We'll play along with your little game." They should have realized at that moment that they were being played.
I can agree that Seth might be a victim. If you think about it, look what happened. Look at all the creators that surrounded him all at once. And look what happened as soon as that happened. And I do know that autism, well, it's genetic or can be genetic. And I won't go further than that, but you can tell kind of what I'm saying. Without saying too much of what I'm thinking, what could have happened to Seth when he found all these newfound friends? And what if genetics do play a role? Just saying. I don't know if that's true. I'm just speculating. But again, I do believe what Advocate is saying. He is a victim in many ways. And that 100% does not excuse his behavior, who he's been hanging out with, who he has put on his team, nor does it excuse all of the things that he has said and done, especially about Sebastian, and especially about his ex-wife. That's not cool. None of it's cool. It's got a really bad look to it, let's be honest. But I'm going to say, what type of influence has he had around him? And what type of people? Are they money-making people? Are they looking for a payday? Again, I'm just speculating, just like you guys do. And there is so much that I cannot and will not get behind with regards to Seth and some of the things he's done, said. Absolutely not. It doesn't make sense to me. But I'm not in his shoes, Katie and Chris's shoes. I'm in none of their shoes. I don't have a missing child, so I'm just saying. Let's listen to Advocate. She seems to know a good amount of things.
He put his signature.
I'm sorry, I have a cold and I had to go in the other room to cough.
That's okay.
I think they're all being victimized by the media.
Yeah.
I truly do. And whether you forgive him for his part or not, or he's angry at his wife, that plays out in almost every family in America. So he's bitter. He gets to be bitter. We're all kind of bitter, about certain aspects of our life. But I really think that not attacking Seth is the way to go. on our side of it, on the advocate side of it. And every one of you are an advocate for Sebastian. If he were sitting right there, he would be upset that you attacked his father or his mother.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I think it's really sad to think about Sebastian listening to all of this. If and when he comes home one day, all of this stuff on the internet is still going to be there. He could be sitting somewhere right now listening to all of this, and it's really sad. It's really sad. So I think we should all think before we speak, whether it's on his parents, whether it's about him, regardless of what it's about. When you speak on someone's parents, regardless, it hurts them. Sebastian is 50% of each of them. And I can tell you, it hurts.
If he were sitting right there, he would be upset that you attacked his father or his mother.
Well, you know, with utmost respect, I don't think pointing out that Seth is lying is attacking him.
Granny, come on now. You, me, and the rest of the internet, we all know that you did a lot more than just point out that he's lying. And it's not just you. I'm not only picking on you. Plenty of other creators have done the same. In fact, I personally don't have a problem with people sharing an opinion respectfully. But when it comes down to weight shaming and making thumbnails that are, pretty inappropriate, and so on, and things that I don't want to repeat, I personally have a problem with that. I think it's going too far. And that's just me. Others may find it completely appropriate. I personally just don't, and that's okay. People are going to do whatever they think is right on their own channels, and they're responsible for themselves. And the people who follow them, they can agree, disagree, and they're also responsible for themselves and their comments. And it is what it is. I just personally, this is how I feel, and this is what I do on my channel. That's it. That's all. You guys do whatever you feel is right. For example, I have creator friends on here who would go further and way further than I would, but I still have friendships with them. I still respect them. I just don't agree with them, and it's perfectly fine. I also have subscribers that agree with one video I do 100%, and then I'll make another video and they don't agree at all. I may have crossed a line that they wouldn't cross, and that's going to happen. And you know what? It's normal. It's completely normal for us not to agree with every single thing that someone does. But let's hear what Advocate has to say. That's what I'm more interested in. If I could ever shut up, we could get this done.
Well, with utmost respect, I don't think pointing out that Seth is lying is attacking him.
Well, it's not moving you any closer to finding Sebastian if that's really your motive, right?
Right, but again, with utmost respect, I don't think I'll be the one to find Sebastian.
No, I don't think any of you will. Actually,
Right.
only the ones that are out there, and I'm also search and recovery, search and rescue too. So, and I've been out there. I've probably got 1,000,000 miles on my legs, and never been on YouTube selling anything.
Yeah,
Never.
I appreciate that.
Never been monetized. So, I mean, there is a way to do this if people really care, and I'm all over. I go to everybody's channel, and I almost say the same thing every time, is please put your phone down and put some boots on. There's a missing child near you. They're everywhere.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate fact.
Learn how to do search and rescue and hook up with the SAR group and get out there and you'll make friends and get exercise. I mean, there's a lot of plus things as a human being to be an help or an advocate. So, that's my advice. But playing into this every day, into this media, you're just helping them rise to the top.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get very far to the top.
Oh, they're still getting popular, and it doesn't matter if it's negative or not. Every time you guys have a panel, they get more popular. You are helping them become more popular, and there's nothing wrong with them.
Through what? Through social media?
But they're
Yes, through social media, of course.
Oh, absolutely. Do you know how?
I mean, if their end goal is to be a credible organization that's going to solve all these missing cases,
their end goal is not to be credible media.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't frankly care.
Their end goal is to make money.
Okay. Well, they're not doing very well at that either, so.
Well, they're actually doing excellent.
I disagree.
Well,
in what format do you think they're doing excellent?
By clicks, by attention.
Even they're getting a lot.
Even content effort. even her channel has risen up because of all the dissension.
All of your channels have risen up. All of them. Yours, theirs, you're using them, they're using you. Maybe you don't even know it, but yeah, that's what's happening. All in the name of Sebastian and drama. I'm not sure how you don't see it.
That's what media does. Now, I'm not saying that she's doing it on purpose, but that is just
Of course she is.
Well, that is the reason that they are here.
Yes.
For clicks. That is the reason. That is
Well,
the is to make income.
Exactly. All of you, more income. All of you are making more income and you're seeing it and you're doing it more and more each day. Even when you try to quit or pretend you're about to quit and not talk about Sebastian anymore, you keep doing it. You'll find another way around it, whether it's a lawsuit, whether it's drama over on TikTok, what you're doing. And you're going to continue to do it, I'm sure. Well, and I think the reason Granny's getting a little testier here and is kind of disagreeing now is maybe the fact that, well, is because I think it's starting to sink in that if Advocate is right and people are listening, then they're quickly going to realize that if Granny ices these people out, she doesn't have content. I'm sure, I have no doubt though, that Granny can find other content. It's not that. She's very capable. But yeah, this is her content right now. This is the way she's feeding her family. And any type of wrench being thrown into that is not good for her. And I say that respectfully. I think Granny's a very honest person in that regard. She's here to make money. She'll tell you herself. We see this all the time when we review all those tragedy pimp channels. They get mad when their dollars are possibly being affected, when their wallets are being affected, possibly. Then they get mad. And I don't think Granny's going to get mad. I know she understands that people have different opinions than her, and I'm not out to get her. Hopefully she understands. I'm just sharing my opinion, just like everyone else does on here, and I'm not attacking her. At least I'm not trying to attack her. I'm sure she won't like some of the things I've said, but it's just something I disagree with. I don't not like Granny. There are things I do like about Granny. I just disagree with her in a lot of areas, like this one, for example. And I have to say, there's a lot of creators right now that I do like, but I'm disagreeing with the content. I'm disagreeing with some of the choices and some of the things they're putting out, and I'm struggling with that in some regard. But we're not always going to agree. In my real life, I have plenty of people that I'm related to, that I'm friends with, who I disagree with all the time. But doesn't mean I'm going to act a fool, or I think you get my drift. I really am coming from a place where I just want better for the victims, for their families, and this community as a whole. I think we've turned a corner and gone downhill in some ways, and I just want us to do better. That's really it. And I don't know if there's any turning back at this point, but I think that we can always do better.
And
good. I hope they make all the income in the world.
Well, they will. But
good. And they'll owe a lot of it back out for frivolous lawsuits, but what do I know?
Well, I get that. I get your anger, and I also understand the anger of the parents and everybody else on both sides, because there are good people on both sides, but a lot of people are being led. They're being tricked.
Right.
And I think if everybody realizes, just like me, I'm on here right now, so I'm feeding into it too. I know better because I'm here. But I just want you guys to realize that it isn't another person on the other side. It isn't an FBI agent or the father or the stepfather that you're really defending. What you're doing is you're feeding a machine that is aimed on the dissension for clicks. That's what this is about media. And lawyers are making an awful lot of money, aren't they?
Perhaps, yeah.
Think about that too. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I wanted just to kind of throw a wrench out there and show you what I see from my view.
I appreciate your view. Thank you. Of course. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Sorry about that. The audio was pretty shit. It was driving me nuts. Let's hear Bobby's phone call. Put a 1 in the chat. You guys awake? We still with me? I'm sorry. That was... I respect her credentials. I respect her boots on the ground and her PI work and all the things. I really appreciate all of that. I just respectfully disagree with what she was saying, and that's okay.
Seriously? Right back to the drama. Let's get on to the Bobby phone call, guys. Like, come on. And the audio, it really wasn't that bad. There was a little hum in the background, but I've heard a lot worse. Just saying. Anyway, I think that tells us a lot right there.
Oh, that audio was terrible. Hold on, my ears are kind of ringing a little bit. And I do think she meant well. I think, I understand what she's saying. I just also disagree, because I think if they were doing so well, if their whole intent was for money and popularity and all that, they didn't go about it the right way. And that's why they're trying to silence a lot of people.
Well, it clearly worked in some regard, because they sure are getting a lot of attention, and it's from thousands of people. And I'm not saying they went about it in the right way, because clearly, morally, it is very wrong, and it's disturbing, and it's messed up, and it looks like they're not gonna end so well with this lawsuit. But anyway.
So, anyway, on to different news. You still with us? She's here. She's probably just muted. Here is Bobby's call.
People next door, I told you that
Well, that was a lot. I think it says a lot. I think it says a lot for itself. I think I heard he spoke a lot during the video, so I don't need to say too much more now. But I do have to disagree with that last part where Granny was saying she doesn't agree that they're making a name for themselves. I think they are, in exactly the way that they want to. They're using hate, they're using confrontation, and they're using drama on the internet to get you guys going, and you're joining in. You're doing exactly what they wanted you to do. You guys fell right into it. And I do think and agree that icing them out is the right thing to do. If you ignore them, what are they going to do? If you don't respond, what are they going to do? They're going to have nothing to do because they have no one to respond to. I think Chris and Katie 100% have the right idea here by just saying nothing. They wouldn't have anything to go on if you just said nothing. Ice them out. But then again, I get it. Where would your paycheck come from if you weren't responding to them? Where would your paycheck be if you couldn't do the drama? I guess you would probably find it somewhere else, obviously. And Granny, I truly, truly mean it when I say that I think you're a really great interviewer. And I think you could go really far with that. Like if you had a podcast, any type of podcast, something not exploiting missing children, I think you could go places with it. You're really good at what you do in that regard. But with regard to this, don't respond. And they'd probably go away eventually. I do have nice things to say about Granny. I do think that she is really good at what she does in the way of she thinks fast on her feet. She is a really good interviewer. I've seen her before on other people's panels, and she'll be in there asking the questions, quick, getting the answers, and she's right on to the next question. I think she's really good at that, and I think she could put that to good use, maybe without exploiting missing children. This is kind of like a compliment sandwich, and I don't mean it in a bad way, Granny. Again, I do think you have really good qualities. I just wish that you didn't exploit a missing child pretty much every single day of the week. Well, I should say every day that you go live, you are exploiting a missing child. And I keep hearing you say like, oh, I'm gonna move on to different content. But now you have this lawsuit, and that, I'm sorry, but that's still exploiting Sebastian Rogers because it involves him. And fine and dandy to say that they're exploiting him because they are, and that's their lawsuit that they started. And yeah, they're exploiting him too. What they do and have done is absolutely vile. I have no fucks to give about them. I think they're disgusting. I don't want to give them any attention ever. I don't want to say their name. Yeah, they are nothing to me. Shit at the bottom of my shoe. In a lot of worse ways, in my opinion. I think they are dirty. I think they're disgusting. But you feeding into it, you replying to it, you are also involved in exploiting a missing child. And that's my opinion. And you're not the only one doing it. Please don't get me wrong. There are a lot of channels doing the same thing. I guess I just agree with Advocate and what she said. I think we should ice them out. There is no friggin' point in talking about them. They are gross. If people want to correct misinformation, do it. I think that's a great idea. But is there not a way to do it without slinging mud and talking about them specifically? I mean, can we not just correct the misinformation? I was listening the other day to Queen Bee, and on that live stream, she was saying, let's ice them out. Let's not talk about them. And she actually had a poll, and it was interesting to me because I think it was like 50% of the people wanted to keep talking about them because, and I understand it, that's where they want to go for the information. That's where we get the drama. People do love drama, and I get that. But, guys, is it really worth it? Is it worth it to get your drama fill on the back of a missing child? Is it really worth these people getting bigger and bigger and more accolades and more accolades? I don't know. To me, it is not worth it. If I wanted to go look at what kind of crap they're doing, I could just go check myself. Yeah. And people are getting richer and richer, and there's more lawsuits, and lawyers are getting richer too, just like Advocate said. Anyway, I appreciated what Advocate said, and I just wanted to showcase that. A lot of people missed out on what Advocate had to say because of all the Bobby drama. That was a big thing that whole day because, yeah, that day was the day after. The call was put out the night before, and so was all of Seth's personal work history, so that became the topic of discussion. So not a lot of people got to hear what Advocate had to say, and I just wanted to showcase it. I agreed with it. I thought it was important, and yeah, I'd say 90% of what she had to say I agreed with. I know Granny did not, and that's okay. We don't have to agree. That's just my opinion, and I hope everyone has a great night. This has been a long one. Thank you all for being here. All right, one more thing. It's brief, I promise. If we are talking about Sebastian Rogers in any way, show his picture. I mean, I think it's the least we can do, and share the facts. It's tough because we don't always want to mix Sebastian's name and face and facts with a bunch of drama, but I think it's worth it sometimes. Well, today I do. Today I think it's worth it. I think since people only seem to be doing drama right now, maybe someone who hasn't seen his face before will join the chat and see it. Maybe it's worth it. I don't know. I could change my mind tomorrow. I think the best place to go and get actual factual information is from the TBI newsroom, and I'll leave that link in the description. You can also check the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They have a profile on Sebastian as well, so please check there too. Sebastian is also on the FBI's Most Wanted, and that's of course as a missing person. So that's another website you can check. It gives information about the reward and a whole lot more. I have gone back and forth myself. Is it right to share his picture when you're just talking about all the drama that surrounds his case? And again, like I said, I've gone back and forth. I don't know what the right thing to do is, but I do know that someone new could be entering the chat, entering the stream, and maybe they haven't seen his face before. So especially considering pretty much everything is drama these days, I think we should show his face and share the facts as often as possible. Like I said, I don't know what the right thing to do is. I just know that the more people that see his face, the better. And the more we share the actual facts, the better. Because I'm going to say about 90% of what we're seeing on the YouTube streets about this case is speculation, or it's just made up, or it's drama and rumors. So let's get the facts out there. If anyone has any information pertaining to the disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, please do call 1-800-TBI-FIND, and there'll be more information in the description of this video. Thank you all. Have a good night.